TJ Bamba, Villanova guard.
Okay.
Reportedly set to visit the University of Memphis this weekend. Jason Munn's commercial bill among the people who had that. Can I interest you in a TJ Bamba? He just was a starter for a Villanova team that wasn't great, but he was a starter for a Villanova team and shot roughly 37% from three-point range.
Yeah, you can definitely interest me, although I will say it's a lot of guards.
They are loaded up.
A lot of guards.
So, just to recap,
Yep.
they've added Tyrese Hunter. That's a definite starter.
Yes.
They've added P.J. Haggerty.
You would think.
That's a
yeah,
definitely
he
starter.
started for his previous team. You would think he's coming here to start. Yeah.
They've added Colby Rogers from Wichita State, and that is another player who just started 34 of 34 games, averaged 16 points for the Shockers. Now, that's a lot of points for a bad team.
Sure.
What does it really mean? But the way the transfer portal works, guys who start 34 games don't usually think they're going to not start 34 games at their new school. But then here comes TJ Bamba. So, I mean, you could play four guards, I guess. But if they were to add TJ Bamba, and it's not done, he's just visiting reportedly this weekend. But if they were to add TJ Bamba, at the very least, they would have four starter level, certainly at the AAC level, starter level guards to throw out there. And then, of course, got to see what happens with David Jones.
Yep.
And we need to see what happens with Jaden Quaintance, the five-star high school prospect who is also reportedly scheduled to visit Memphis this weekend. Musa Cisse's name has been connected in some level. They've already gotten a commitment from Dane Danger out of Illinois. So I only rank every day, and it really is every day. I mean, it's every day I'm having to update the top 25 and 1. Every day I do this show, and then I go get lunch, and I update the top 25 and 1.
Yep.
Like you probably, if you see some bald guy sitting in a lunch spot with a computer out looking like he's ranking basketball teams, that's me.
That's you.
Every
Okay.
day. I was looking forward to the offseason, in part because I wouldn't have to update the top 25 and 1 every day anymore.
Not so fast.
Not so fast. Not so fast. I only do 26. The Tigers are not quite on my radar yet, but my friend and colleague John Rothstein, he ranks 45 teams. It's the Rothstein 45.
Yep.
He has Memphis in there right now at number 41.
Cool.
And that is with the assumption that David Jones is back. That's obviously still up in the air. But if you were to tell me right now, Memphis could run out there with a core of Tyrese Hunter, P.J. Haggerty, Colby Rogers, TJ Bamba, David Jones, and I'd prefer Dane Danger not be my starting center. But, could you add Jaden Quaintance? Could you add Musa Cisse? It's going to be right back to where we were last year. They got a lot of interesting pieces. They got a lot of interesting pieces.
Yep.
Now let's see if it can fit together. And for a while it did, and then, of course, it didn't. But I know there's been some studies done throughout this past season about teams that load up on transfers to this degree and how it didn't really go so well for most teams this past season that did that, Arkansas being among the most obvious ones. I believe the number was something along teams that enrolled 7 or more transfers in the same year. It was like those teams did not do too well. And so if you want to have that conversation about, is it really smart to rely this much on transfers all coming in at the same time? There's some data that suggests it's not the best way to do this. Player retention is very important. But here's the problem with having that conversation. It doesn't matter. They have to do this. This is the way Penny Hardaway will have to build his next team.
Right.
It's got to be built through the transfer portal. It doesn't matter if it's the smart way to do it, broadly speaking. This is where we're at on April 25th. You got to have a team next year, and it ain't going to be a team based off of a bunch of guys you just had last season. Most of those guys are gone. So you have to build the team the only way you can reasonably build a team right now, which is through the transfer portal, and it's going to be a lot of new faces and a lot of new names, and you ain't going to recognize most of them on opening night. But then they'll either become a competent basketball team or not. But the talent, it does seem to start to be coming together. We'll see where it goes, if they can secure a commitment or two this weekend, because they still got multiple open scholarships. Even if they were to add Quaintance and TJ Bamba, they would still have, in theory, multiple open scholarships. So there's still a lot of work to get done, but this roster there's talent there. There's real talent that's coming together, and there's 2 more talented guys scheduled to visit the University of Memphis this weekend.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m.